record button and then say, yo, what up? How's it going, man?
Doing okay yourself?
I'm well. I'm quite well. Thank you for support over on Patreon. I appreciate it. We're going to we're gonna talk about Mineta 1, a deck I haven't done a deck doctor on possibly ever, maybe one time. So with that, hit me with the elevator pitch. What do you got going on with your super cool Mineta deck?
Nothing like too crazy. Mostly just bog standard, trying to end with either a ridiculous size cannon blast or grape rush attack, getting plus ultra, or base plus grape rush. Just being able to becoming a throw relatively easily for some hard damage.
A throw?
On grape rush, yeah.
Oh, regular grape rush. Yeah.
Okay.
Only playable
So many
speed
grapes.
is less because of surviving and defrosting and ice gliding.
The real big problem I have with this deck is its size. It's a little chonky right now.
Okay. What's the target?
I kind of want to cut it down about 5 to 10 more cards.
Okay.
Slim it down just a little bit. But when I was trying to slim it down on my own, everything I was like taking in and out, it was messing up my block mods, and like I don't want this to be like super competitive, but I do need it to beat Tim. And that's the
Tim
goal
Friedley,
here.
the person who's staying upstairs right now.
You're correct, yes. The man who's literally in your house.
All right. Well, I'll just like break his kneecaps or something, and he won't be able to play. How's that?
Yeah, that's fine. All right.
Is there a hidden third
can't-
objective of me putting in more high blocks in your deck? Is that a thing that I can also do?
Yeah, we can totally put some more high blocks
Okay,
in.
cool.
I'm not worried on that. Yeah, the ratios on this are off. I did my normal style of deck building where I threw every card I wanted as a 4 of at the start, and then started paring down from there.
Love that.
And that's about where I'm at.
Love that. Let me keep doing some looking.
Yeah, I'm not in love with like any of the cards in the deck other than Grape Rush.
Okay.
And
That's good to know.
The reason why the Grape Rush attack is in there is strictly because I'm running Eat My Sticky Balls and I need the high blocks.
Well, Great Brush Attack is not a high attack.
No, but it will pull back if, I can use it as a threat and be like, you can let this giant attack hit you, or I get a lot more of my high blocks back to my hand.
Makes sense. Makes sense to me. Makes total sense. Wow. These are interesting choices that you've made to not include.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Interesting is always bad. I will. Let's talk about it. So first off, let's talk about the attacks that I've added. We've got Tape Swing, which is just a better. You're only playing a single copy of Great Bush Attack.
Correct. Yeah.
Again,
it was part of the thing of me trying to like cut the cards down. But I at least wanted one in there again, specifically for the Eat My Sticky Balls grabs.
Okay.
And if I check it, oh well.
Yeah, I love it. And I can't convince you just to like play Tape Swing, right? Like instead, it's just like a pound for pound better 5/2 that like does more things for everything your character's got going on. Or
you can convince me anything you want. That's totally fine.
And because like this card.
Do you think it as a one of or?
So let's look at our high blocks, right? Block zones. The only high that we have is Eat My Sticky Balls. And so the reason you feel like you're not playing any highs is because like you are slammed with lows and mids, like slammed. Yep. And so like this card played second, says that it just gets a bunch of whatever, or this card plus ultra, you just get a bunch of whatever, and they don't want to block your moves because it's going to give +2 damage to all of your other stuff, right?
Yep.
And so like this card just like feels great as like a beautiful 6 damage poke, right, to then make your other cards more relevant. The only issue that we have with this lineup that I see is the only momentum out that we have is plus ultra, and this now gives you a powerful 2 momentum out.
All right, yeah, you convinced me pretty. Yeah.
Why are we playing ambush? If not to, we're playing ambush exclusively to stuff their card pool because that's what our character does. That's super neat. But this card kills people.
Yeah, no. And it's It is faster. It's 2 less damage, but I gained that back from Mineta's Enhance. Yeah, no.
Right.
I think you're 100% right. I think we swapped in.
Great Brush deck. It's gone. Okay, so now we got to get this number down just a smidge. I personally think 22-21 attacks is probably the right call, the right move. And I just want to talk about some ideas, some thoughts. So I think we could easily play triple tape swing and probably just get away with whatever we were doing with 22 attacks and probably feel fine with it.
Agreed.
As we go back to our block zones, we now have 7 high blocks. We've got 6 low blocks. The rest are all mids. And that's like an acceptable ratio. Just even there, just like putting this up to 15 makes me feel way more comfortable than the 12 that we were at, right? There were plenty of times inside of big tournaments that I would have double tape swing and feel comfortable just playing one, it hitting, going to momentum. And if I wanted to block with the other high, I'm good. If not, I'll play it and then discard the momentum instantly and say it's another 6 damage move, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels good just holding this as a beautiful 1 high block. So now let's talk about the high blocks that we have on our foundations, or more importantly, let's talk about the other non-high blocks, right?
Yeah.
We're playing tape, which effectively makes something a mid block. We're playing face shield, which effectively makes something a free block, and you're playing 1 extra in the sideboard, I believe.
Correct.
I think that face shield should not be a 3 of, it should be a 2 of, and you should also be playing double wall cling in your deck. And the reason is because this says that things like Jolt don't touch you when it's on board. And Jolt is just like a good card. And it gets to sit on board. And it is more of a deterrent for them to play moves, or something they have to play around or play through, rather than like it just being like an okay card, right?
Okay. Yeah, I totally see that.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of have a little... I don't want to... I mean, maybe it's because I like having Faith Shield as a hand trap, I guess is how I'm trying to say it there.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with it going down to 2 and then having the 2 Walkling to kind of just even it out.
If you want to put it back up to 3, that's totally okay. Your character gets to block with it easier than most, but in most experiences that you'll find, this card, if you see like 2 of them in hand, 1 of them's dead, right? And so we just reduce the amount of times that it's a dead card. You know how many times I review a Faith Shield because I just couldn't block with it because stuff was too fast? Once again, you get away with that. You're Mineta 1, right? You get to put something back to printed and block for 3. That's cool. But like, I think at that point, if you feel like you are not seeing enough, you have the 1 extra in your sideboard, right? So I actually increased how good your cards are, how good your Omni blocks are, just by introducing double wall cling. But we've now increased our number.
Okay.
And I can live with 17 high blocks and let you play the game, right? So from here, we just now have to just cut these.
Yeah.
Which is going to be easy, actually. First and foremost, we have things like defrosting. Since we are now playing 3 2-checks, when we take and we look at our difficulties, we have 2, 2, and 3. I think something has to give here, and I think the answer is just defrosting. Incredible movement with Grape Rush. But we've got a lot of other movement that happens with Surviving the Final or Ice Gliding to make this thing happen. And I don't think that you need defrosting any longer.
No, I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's not a big thing. Is like a lot of my stuff was all three difficulty foundations. So
what's my target number here?
I want to say 60, but I'm not married to that number.
Okay.
Like
I can cut 6 cards. That's easy.
Yeah. Like we can also stick at that like 65, somewhere in that range.
Okay. I love it. Desperate Times I think is an insane card that we easily could be playing more of. And I think First Villain Encounter easily becomes a 1 of. I think this card is neat. I think this card is fine. I think this card is easy to play around, and if they do decide to play into it, I don't think having multiples is going to be the end of the world.
Okay. I have it as a 2 of just because I like seeing it, and
Okay.
it just make sure that it's there. But
The other
I
thing
could
that we're going to do
definitely
is we're going to
see it
cut down a
being
bunch
one
of. We're going to cut this down to like a 2, maybe a 1 of. It's a deadlock threat for sure, but we are not moving things as well as Asui or Ochako is. We're playing a 2 of Amphibious Ambush in order to make the deadlock threat happen. All this does is look at the top card of my deck. And we're not even playing something along the lines of Frog Lashing, which I have in the sideboard as another bomb, in order to like get the flip look at the top card of your deck, give it +1 damage. We're just not doing that. So there's another 2 cards down.
Yep.
Classmate Introduction. Sell me on this card.
I absolutely enjoy this card because it kind of gives them a deterrent to stuff their card pool themselves, or everything is just going to keep getting fast to the point where they are not going to be able to block it. The first enhance is, or the second enhance is just like a nice little cherry on top, where my first deck gets a little bit of extra damage, but it's mostly, I like it as a deterrent, saying you probably should block at least something early, or else everything else is going to keep getting faster.
Can this card be a 2 of? Can I cut one out?
Yeah, I think 2 of them will be fine on that.
63. Go back to quantity. We could cut Irrefutable down to a 2-0, but you have to promise to put a third one in the sideboard. I think that's probably a better sideboard option than Think Fast is. Unless you're playing against an evil deck, in which case your deck should just win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can swap that. I can swap that out for Think Fast.
Creepy could probably be a 2 of and survive. I know that I was playing it at a 2 of in a lot of my card pool stuffing decks and feeling fine, but just seeing 1.
Really, you don't think Creepy Realize having multiple out is? I mean, it's a 4 control, but
I was saying that
I want Creepy Realization as fast
it.
as I can get it.
That's what I was saying. It was icing. It was bonus. It was icing on the cake. I did not need the card. But I was also playing like Sero 2, right? And so I was always getting the speed in, and so whenever I did decide to pop the creepy button, it always hit the plus damage. Where the big thing to do when I look at Mineta, the thing that I do is I understand that my card pool is going to be slightly stuffed, and I just have to wait for the creepy to pop off and then block it, right? So this is more of a deterrent rather than an actual kill card, or even better yet, it's actually a defensive piece of commit for the minus damage. It was never really an offensive piece, which is why like putting it to the 2 of is going to feel fine, because you just are going to be using it mainly on defense, but like we're probably going to be blocking as much as we can on defense because we're Mineta.
True.
And it also cuts this down, and I can tell you that like whenever I saw creepy, it felt good, but I was never missing this card. At the same time, I wasn't playing Cosmic Introductions. I was playing a 60 card deck. And so like this is a little bit of extra damage on your first moves. Your pokes are a little tighter with this card, whereas this card says your strings are better. Pokes are better, strings are better. It's weird that they're in the same kit, huh?
It just makes Mineta the best character, you know?
Yep, that's what that means. Let's go back and look at our block zones. Our block zones are now back to even at 62 attacks, 22 foundation, or 22 attacks, 62 cards, 4+ ultras. Can I talk about some of the other options that I pulled in that I just wanted you to talk about? Okay. Yeah. First off, Drowning Resentment. Insane card for your character. It says after they build a card, after they whatever a card, they have to add the card into the card pool. It's going to feel very good versus these good and earth decks that you're playing against that are going to be building in it can't be fixed with whatever. Your character says respond to commit a foundation, which just says you get to lose to that card, and this card will at least slow them down the turn that they decide to build the card in with Back Alley Haymaker.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. What do you think about putting that one as a 2 of then, or?
Like it at a 2 of, but like
okay.
I don't know what to replace it. I mean, the answer is actually just Classmate Introductions.
Probably Classmates,
but,
yeah.
Like, it does this. It also says that your stun attacks get +2 for whatever, and so we have a stun attack here.
That's the reason why I took it out originally, was because I only had the 1 stun attack, because it was in the original like bucket list.
I think this card is actually so good. It's incredibly good. There's just like I pulled out a big long list of like 30 cards that this card touches, and like half of them were meta relevant from like the last event, right? Like this card beats Deadlock Observant Student. This card beats the attack that you were playing, the Grape Rush attack. You pick those MHACCG balls out of this card pile. I'll stuff your card pool by 1. You don't get to play them now because you've Breaker 1 on every move, right? Like,
yeah,
like it's surprisingly good at hitting a lot of different things. But like the fact that we can't use it on offense, maybe it's just the right call not to have it in there. Do you have any sports festival stadiums?
Yeah, I have 4.
This is a way, even if you just played it like a 1 of, to say that you don't get to play breakers. This is getting rid of the idea of the advantage of clearing that card from the card pool, right? This of clearing that block. But it says no breakers, and it says all your moves, you're giving +2 damage on everything. This gives like an extra +1, especially on like your tape swings. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with it going a little bit more towards that offense with tape swing over Great Brush attack. That Sports Vessel gets a lot more mileage.
Yeah, I think it's just a 1 of in the main board for like whenever like your opponent like is trying to breaker you and you're trying to or face shield you or whatever when you're trying to play the game. But like you probably don't need it in this deck, truthfully. And at the same time, you're a 6 with 27 health. Maybe that burn 1 to you is not actually very good. But I don't have any copies of this card, so I've not played with it very much. So I don't actually know how it wants to synergize with your 6 size character.
Yeah. The other thing too is that I'm losing a lot of health. Well, not a lot of health, but I'm losing health on attack being blocked.
Right.
So
yeah,
I'm not really at 27 health. I feel like I'm about like a 24 health character, honestly. Just because I have to lose 1 health after the rival commits. Last
tech, it's Frog Lashing. This card could be banned.
I heard that card's good.
Yeah, this card could just be banned, and it's probably just like a better move than Tape Stream Jab, because like this card's a 3 mid for a 6, right? It's just it just is as a 4 diff. This card starts at a 4 high for 6, and then only gets better from Mineta, and it readies 2 face downs. So like this card is just a better version of everything this wants to do, but this card does start your combos. But if this thing is slinging for 10 damage, it's also going to make them block and start your combos.
True.
So this is just like a better card than what this card is representing.
What if we move Tape Stream Jab down to 2 and then just add 2 of the lashings? Does that mess the ratios up too badly then?
No, but you're going to check a lot of attacks. We're pushing up to 23. All right, we'll just do that. Ready? This goes down to 2. This goes to 2. And then we're at 63 with 23. Oh.
23C.
There you go. I didn't know I did that. Yeah, I think that you're gonna see this card. So here's where I'm at. I played as Sero 2, the card that this character wants to play as, and I thought this was one of the most mediocre cards in the entire deck. I thought this card was so lame. It was so mid. It was And truthfully, my character gets way more value out of stuffing that card in that card pool, right? The 3 speed plus and 3 speed draw 1 is way better than just +2 damage, right?
Yeah.
And so I think Frog Lashing should be a 3 of, if not 4 of in your deck, because sometimes it's just a 3 diff 4 high for 8 all by itself, right? This card is the same stats as your Grape Rush attack as a 3 diff.
You know, when you put it like that, I can't fight you on the logic there.
There you go. Hey,
all right.
Hey, I promise you're not gonna miss this card, especially with things like Amphibious Ambush and Tongue Whip being there. It's just more copies of, like, this is just a better card than what Jab has to offer, and this is another kill condition which your deck truly needs. Imagine playing in a world where you Tongue Whip first and then double lashing them. You kill them, right? You just kill them.
You sure you're not a fan of the Plus Ultra Cannon Blast or Plus Ultra Grape Rush? Spend 1 momentum, explode.
Ultra Grape Rush, yeah, man. Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, I 100% don't disagree on that, and especially with you having a lot more experience, because I have not gotten to play with jab yet. So if you're like, it's okay, then I 100% trust you on
Yeah,
that.
man, it's so mid. The best part about that card, honestly, is the zone change, and even then it still gets blocked. And then you just feel bad, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, that's cool.
And I can't do that. So
if it was a printed 5 damage move, I think we could talk, right? But it just being going up to a 6 damage move just like doesn't make sense when this thing starts at 6, right? This one just starts at 6. That's got a 1 mid block breaker 1. Like,
yeah, it's just a better defensive tool too, on top of being better offensively.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think it's good.
Yeah, one of those cards should be banned. I don't know. I don't know how we're seeing it.
Wow, you're hitting Sero 2 already? Only been.
Yeah, correct. Yep, Sero 2. He's got to get out of here
Sero 2.
for sure. My last big thing, and I think you should put it in the sideboard if you haven't already, is just Frozen. This card keeps you out of deadlock. It's the only way the water can, and so just like have some amount of Frozens in your deck, and it's very easy. Your opponent is going to, whenever you block, if you really sell out to commit their whole stage on block, they're gonna have to stop moving or stop attacking to make sure that they have some sort of defense, and this commits the last good cards they have by just committing your committed ones, and then you just blow them out whenever you draw an aggressive turn, because they're going to keep the good ready foundations, right? They're committing their bad like face downs or blank cards, and this card snipes the good ones because we only have a single stun attack.
Should we put 1 in the main board and then like 2 in the sideboard then, are you thinking? Or
hate that, but I don't know what to cut to not have it there. I think whenever you figure, because I've added a bunch of cards to your sideboard, whenever you figure out your sideboard, figure out what do you want for Frozen, right? Like taking out one first villain counter and then putting in 1 Frozen would not feel terrible, and put 1 of each in the sideboard. If I've got an opponent that wants to go to deadlock, I put the first villain counter. If I've got an opponent that doesn't want to build very much, I put in the other Frozen, right? Because this card is saying commit for +1/+1, -1 difficulty the next is fine, but like it's not really game changing. It's the thing is it's a deadlock threat. And if my opponent's not caring about this, then it's kind of just like it's a 2 high block, and this is a 2 high block, right? These cards threaten other the exact opposite board state. You don't have a lot of foundations. You have too many foundations.
Yeah, I think 1 and 1 might be the right answer. Then just put the others in the sideboard and
I love it.
Change them out as needed for the matchup.
Boy, howdy, I love it. My very last change that I want you to do, but you're not going to do, is to take out Amphibious Ambush and just put in double Frigid Heatwave. But I didn't even put it in the discard in your sideboard because I know you're not going to, because this card says stuff a card in the card pool.
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
I personally don't like to self mill. So
fun fact,
Frigid Heatwave is painful for me.
You don't have to press that button.
True.
It's not a static on the card that says you have to when you play it. Just don't press it. You know what is crazy good? 8 hand size Mineta 1. 8 hand size Mineta 1 seems pretty good.
I mean, 8 hand size any character seems pretty good.
They have the same speed? No, the other one's faster? And hits...
The other one is faster, yeah.
The other one's faster? Because this thing says stuff 1, so it's a 4 high. And then they are essentially the same damage. And that's if you don't mill with the whatevers.
Yeah. And we changed out some of the cards, so I'm not so range heavy now as well.
Ranged.
Because I really had also in there just
ranged.
Oh,
the only one that's not is this Great Brush.
Yeah, we're still crazy range then. Because like I also like it for the fact that I can just get something out of my card pool, keep a string going.
Yeah, you're right. Draw 2 cards.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Your deck, you get the final say, obviously, but that's the only other change that I would make to the deck, is just a 2x for GT Wave. If at Gen Con you're playing your friendly games and you're not at a redacted event yet, just like see how you like the amphibious and think to yourself, if I lead it with this amphibious and it drew me 2 cards, would I be in a better position?
Fair.
So like there's the mental gymnastics you have to do as you are playtesting for your cool thing you get to do without me.
When you make it sound like that.
I'm just kidding, buddy. I'm kidding.
I know.
Anything in here that you dislike? Anything that you fully disagree with?
I I guess going back to what you were saying with classmate introductions,
Mm-hmm.
would you swap anything out for them? I mean, I like it, like I said, as a deterrent, but you're not super sold on it, and I'm getting less sold on it the more you bring up the downfalls on that. Would there be anything worthwhile to swap out? Like, do we swap out classmate introductions for an extra frozen, or?
I personally think this card sucks. I think this card is not a good card. I think that the only thing that this card does is it says the first card that you play every turn is a little better. It says that your tape swings are sick, and that's it. And you only need one of them to do that, right? Because it gets the +1 to put it to an odd number. So when they do have to partial block it, they take 4 and not 3. That's cool. That's awesome. I think putting the speed on all of this stuff does not matter because of how long your strings have to be either way. The fact is that if they care about their life total, they're going to be blocking, and then this card just becomes a blank card, right? This card forces them to put the card in their... The idea is this card forces them to put the card in their card pool early, so your stuff gets the +2 damage. Well, they're going to have to do that anyways because we're slinging moves at them. I'm slinging absolute monsters of attacks that just pump themselves, right? Right? Like these cards just do the job of classmate introductions all by its lonesome. So giving the +1 damage with a +1 speed does not... It's not that relevant, truly. Truly, it's not that relevant.
Okay.
But with that
swap
said,
it out for drowning in resentment.
if you like it, if you like this card, and the way that you play the card is good, then you should do it. I can tell you from my experience, I have not gotten a lot of value out of this card after they have blocked the card. I'm like, oh, it's whatever, right? I was gonna get that. I was gonna get that +1 speed anyways, right? If this has happened, I get the +1 speed on maybe 1, maybe 2 attacks. Well, they committed 1 extra resource. Okay. Neat.
No, I think you're right. Putting it in that way, I think swapping out for like drowning in resentment might be the right answer there.
It's either that
They're
or maybe we do like, as opposed to drowning, we just do the other frozen.
Yeah, that would also work too.
Cut it. What happens if we
Just cut it out.
Just cut it.
Oh, I mean that's also
can
it's also fair. We just cut it.
All right, if we do this, it makes my numbers look prettier, and I am here for that. 18, 25, 18. It's a 61 card deck, which is yucky, but we just don't have to look at that. Yeah, and it makes our block zones very even. My man can block high again. I'm so happy for him.
So I have one other card that I have on my list that I think you took out on there. What do you feel about a 2 of Searing Glacial Storm?
Oh,
just for that first enhance.
It's cool. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's neat. I don't think...
Yeah, it's definitely a side card.
You get to just swap out if you put Searing at a 2 of, you just get to take out 2 of these tape swings for it. Realize you lose your high blocks, but like it is a cool move to do, and then start blocking their stuff and committing their foundations bonus like extra. It's great. It's very cool. It'll never hit anybody. It'll never go to your momentum because it's a 2.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's just first enhance. You know, it's mostly in there for like on the off chance that somebody plays like a big build or like a huge cement toss or just wants to gray wars me the game.
Yeah.
Just gives me an
sometimes
option.
says stun 3 because of your character, and that's neat.
True.
That's neat. I think it's a fine sideboard option.
Okay. Yeah. Then other than that, this deck looks many times better than what I came in here with. So
that's the goal. That is
sure.
the goal. Well, good luck in your thing. Let me stay on the line long enough for me to shoot you over the deck list, and we'll get a rocket. Okay. You have
Sounds good. You too, bud.
Peace.